Let's assume for some reason that you have 200 grand to spend on a car. Assuming then that you wanted an investment grade car, your only real options are something old, an air-cooled 911 or a Ford GT. But let's say you wanted to blow nearly 200 large on something brand new because, god damn it, you've earned it. You don't sell apps to Facebook like those whiny bitches up in San Francisco. You work for a living. You earned your money the hard way. You put in the hours. You started in the mailroom and now you've got the corner office. You've got a secretary named Tracy or Lindsay or Denise. Your first wife took half of everything on account of that skank Tracy. Or was it Lindsay or Denise? You can't remember, and it doesn't matter. Your days are consumed by work until long after the sun goes down. Weekends are for the kids. Weeknights, however, belong to you, your car, and your favorite empty canyon road. You want top-tier performance, you want comfort for that spine torn to shreds by years at your desk, and you want style, for the ladies. You want a real trunk, because no matter how many times 911 owners tell you that your golf bag can ride in the passenger seat, you know that that is a stupid suggestion. More importantly, you know what a car says about you, and that you want to be looked upon with admiration, not with disdain. You want smiles, not sneers. Nothing Italian, nothing with vertical doors, and nothing on rims. Allow me to suggest, for a moment, this yellow flash of brilliance. It's called the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S, and though it may be small, it's the quickest production Aston Martin ever made.
That's because even though this thing is about the size of my shoe, under the hood, there's a 6-liter V12 making 565 horsepower and 457 pounds of torque. Think of it like a Shelby Cobra with airbags. It's ridiculous. And although the roots of that engine stretch back more than a decade, I just think of that as the orchestra has had time to practice.
Yes, there are faster cars than this. Yes, there are flashier cars than this. Yes, there are lighter cars, more advanced cars, and cars that are a better value than this. But this is the smallest car you can buy with a V12 engine. And when you drive this car, every pulse of every cylinder out of the exhaust pipes reminds you of that fact, immediately making the V12 Vantage S worth every single penny.
My favorite thing about the V12 Vantage S is the things that are supposed to be small are very small, like the mouth, the A-pillars, and the overall size of the car. But the things that are big are very big, like the engine, the brakes and tires, the interior, and the top speed, 205.
Before I ramble on about how fantastic it is, let's get a few things out of the way. 2 years ago, you could get the V12 Vantage with a stick, and the addition of an S means that now you can't. Instead, you get a Graziano 7-speed with pedals that are great when you're going fast, but less than stellar on your morning commute or when the gearbox is cold. Also, the buttons on the dash are confusing, the LCD screens are from the Clinton administration, and the remote to unlock it doesn't work from more than 20 feet away. The key fob itself costs 4 figures to replace because it's made of crystal, so even though you have to take it out of your pocket to do anything, dropping it will ruin your day. But with that out of the way, let's talk about finding your favorite road, because driving this monster is simply sublime.
There are not a lot of cars out there that deliver power the way this car does. 365 pounds of torque from idle. That's more torque than the peak torque of an E92 M3 from 1,000 RPM. And the torque band is 4,700 RPM wide. So no matter where you are in the RPM band, you're getting torque immediately from the V12. You think that because it's such a small car with such a big engine that it's going to feel very nose heavy and be kind of piggish. What's amazing is how they've managed to get the balance of this thing so good. It rotates really well. You'd be amazed at how much of this engine they've got behind the front axle. The steering feel is excellent. It's mechanical, rack and pinion, and it really transmits what's happening with the Pirelli tires right to your fingertips. It's a car you want want to conquer. It's not necessarily confidence inspiring the way a GTR is or a 458 is. It makes you elevate your level to what the car can do. But once you get there, you don't get it for free. It makes you earn it. Such a classic case of madness. I'd be lying if I said I prefer the paddles to the stick shift that you got with the regular V12 Vantage. But paddles are the price of progress, and these are pretty good. I enjoy operating them. Some early reviewers said they were too rough. I think they've smoothed them right out. It's a very nice gearbox. I've got big 6-piston carbon ceramic brakes, 390 millimeters. They don't feel like race car brakes. They're not on-off switch. I can modulate them well. Vanquish is absolutely a GT car. It's a great GT car, but it's a GT car nonetheless. It's big, it's heavy. You don't want to drive it fast. You want to cruise in it. This thing, absolute sports car. I want to fly everywhere in it.
Part of the reason it's so good to drive is that it's really the right size. A Nissan GTR may put down a faster lap time, but it feels like a minivan by comparison. The V12 Vantage S is the same height and width as a C7 Corvette, but it's 4 inches shorter with 10mm wider section tires all around, and you really feel it in the hairpins. Even with that heavy engine up front, it changes direction beautifully. A car this heavy shouldn't feel this balanced, but somehow it does.
Perhaps most importantly, I love the brand. You know, a $190,000 sports car is not bought rationally. No one could justify this, no matter what brand you buy. By choosing one, you're aligning yourself with a brand. And if I'm going to align myself with any brand, it's got to be Aston Martin. Aston Martin is a hard-working man's brand. It's a brand for someone who's earned their money, who isn't there necessarily to show off. It's the quiet cool. It's for someone who's been through the struggle and come out on the other side smelling like money and pussy.
There are no shortage of $200,000 sports cars to choose from these days, and that's because there are no shortage of newly rich people to buy them. The problem is that most of these people, these quote new customers, have grown up with the internet, which judges cars based on two things. 1. Numbers no one outside of a racing driver can achieve, and 2. Image. You can buy a sports car for yourself or for everyone else, and there are too many self-indulgent children of all ages today buying sports cars to impress someone else or to go on a forum and quote a lap time that they personally can't replicate. You don't buy an Aston Martin V12 Vantage S because it's going to impress people at the valet stand, because honestly, it doesn't look that much different from the $50,000 06 V8 Vantage that you bought on eBay. And it's certainly not the newest, greatest online sensation. You fork over $200K for a V12 Vantage S because piloting one, alone with your thoughts, that engine, and a ribbon of perfect California tarmac sets your mind free.
You don't put rims on it. You're not an asshole, are you?